Welcome to Stories from the Holy Book, where timeless truths and sacred stories come to life. The story of Joseph, his coat, his dreams, and his remarkable journey from slavery to power spans the final chapters of the book of Genesis. It is a narrative woven with themes of jealousy, betrayal, resilience, faith, forgiveness, and ultimately, redemption. The story begins with Joseph as a young man, the favored son of Jacob, and carries us through decades of incredible trials and triumphs. Joseph was the son of Jacob and Rachel, born to Jacob in his old age. As the 11th of 12 brothers, Joseph stood out in his father's eyes, and Jacob's love for him was particularly deep and obvious. To show his affection, Jacob bestowed upon Joseph a special robe, often described as a coat of many colors. This beautiful garment, a symbol of his father's favor, set Joseph apart and became a visible sign of the unique place he held within the family. Unfortunately, this distinction did not go unnoticed by his brothers, who already harbored resentment towards Joseph. Compounding their envy, Joseph began to have unusual and powerful dreams. In one dream, he saw himself and his brothers binding sheaves of grain in a field. Suddenly, his brothers' sheaves gathered around and bowed to his own sheaf. In another dream, the sun, the moon, and 11 stars bowed down to him. When he recounted these visions to his family, the interpretation was clear. Joseph was destined for greatness, and his family would one day bow before him. Understandably, this stirred further jealousy and anger among his brothers, who saw both his dreams and his coat as signs of arrogance and favoritism. Joseph's brothers' discontent soon spilled over into action. One day, when Joseph was sent by his father to check on their welfare as they tended sheep far from home, the brothers conspired against him. Initially, some of them plotted to kill him, but the eldest brother Reuben persuaded them instead to throw him into an empty cistern, thinking he could rescue Joseph later. But when a caravan of Ishmaelite traders passed by, the brothers seized the opportunity. For 20 pieces of silver, they sold their brother into slavery, sending him down the road to Egypt, a foreign land, far from his home and family. To conceal their deed, the brothers took Joseph's treasured coat, dipped it in the blood of a slaughtered goat, and brought it back to Jacob. Heartbroken, Jacob believed that his beloved son had been killed by a wild animal. The colorful coat that once symbolized Jacob's favor now marked the beginning of a season of mourning. Meanwhile, Joseph was taken to Egypt, where he was sold to Potiphar, the captain of Pharaoh's guard. Despite his misfortune, Joseph's story takes a remarkable turn. Endowed with wisdom, integrity, and the Lord's blessing, Joseph quickly rose to a position of great responsibility within Potiphar's household. It seemed that even in slavery, his gifts and character could not be suppressed. However, Joseph's life took another sharp turn when Potiphar's wife, infatuated with the young Hebrew, falsely accused him of a crime he did not commit. As a result, Joseph found himself imprisoned, with his future seemingly sealed in darkness. Yet, in the prison, Joseph continued to distinguish himself. He earned the trust of the prison warden and was placed in charge of the other prisoners. It was here in this unlikely setting that his ability to interpret dreams again came to the fore. 2 prisoners, Pharaoh's chief cupbearer and chief baker, each had troubling dreams, and Joseph, acknowledging that interpretations belong to God, explained their meaning with remarkable accuracy. For the cupbearer, Joseph's interpretation promised restoration to his position. For the baker, Joseph foretold execution. Both outcomes came to pass, but for a time, Joseph's kindness was forgotten, until Pharaoh himself began to be troubled by dreams no one in all of Egypt could interpret. Remembering Joseph's gift, the cupbearer finally spoke of the young Hebrew prisoner to Pharaoh. Summoned from his cell, Joseph listened to Pharaoh's dreams. Visions of 7 fat cows devoured by 7 gaunt cows, and 7 healthy ears of grain swallowed by 7 withered ears. Joseph explained that both dreams were essentially the same. Egypt was to experience 7 years of plenty, followed by 7 years of devastating famine. Furthermore, Joseph recommended that Pharaoh appoint a wise administrator to prepare for the hard years to come by storing surplus grain during the years of abundance. Impressed by Joseph's wisdom and discernment, Pharaoh appointed him second in command over all of Egypt. In a stunning reversal of fortune, Joseph, once sold as a slave, was now arrayed in fine clothes and given a signet ring of authority. He was entrusted with the task of leading Egypt through its seasons of prosperity and scarcity. Joseph's administrative abilities and foresight not only saved Egypt, but also positioned it to help the surrounding nations as famine gripped the region. As the years of famine arrived, Joseph's own brothers traveled to Egypt from Canaan, desperate for food. They did not recognize Joseph, but he recognized them. The moment became a profound turning point, not only for Joseph, but for his entire family. Through a series of interactions, Joseph tested his brothers to see if they had changed since the day they sold him into slavery. He observed their remorse and their willingness to protect their youngest brother, Benjamin. Finally, Joseph could no longer conceal his identity. Overcome with emotion, he revealed himself to his astonished brothers, assuring them that what they meant for harm, God had used for good. This act of forgiveness laid the foundation for reconciliation, as Joseph invited his entire family to settle in Egypt, where they would thrive during the remaining years of famine. Joseph's journey, from favored son to slave, from prisoner to ruler, stands as one of the Bible's great stories of providence and purpose. Through all his adversity, Joseph remained steadfast, clinging to faith and choosing integrity over bitterness. His dreams, once a source of division, ultimately became a reality, not just for his own benefit, but for the preservation of many lives. The narrative ends with a moving testament to Joseph's character and legacy. Even after Jacob died, Joseph reassured his brothers that he held no grudge, declaring, "You meant evil against me, but God meant it for good." His life demonstrates how faithfulness in trial and humility in success can transform even the deepest wounds into blessings. Through Joseph, we see the enduring power of forgiveness, the mystery of divine providence, and the unbroken thread of hope, even in the darkest of times. Thank you for watching Stories from the Holy Book. May these stories strengthen your faith and guide your heart. Don't forget to subscribe and join us next time for more sacred tales and divine inspiration. God bless you.